Wei mentioned on his long list of people we like to thank at the beginning, Provost Fu is one of them. I don't know how the provosts on other campuses, CSU campuses, they operate, but I feel very grateful to have Provost Fu on our campus. He's so personable. He has these office hours that welcomes everybody to visit, almost like bi-weekly or weekly basis. So Wei and I visit him many times during office hours, and always things are, okay, we don't have this for this project, we don't have that, we need more student assistance, we need more device, we don't have money. He always listens, and he always follow up. It's just amazing. Like after every visit, he will send everybody an email saying, we discussed this, I'll follow up this, and then a week or two later, he'll give us an update. So this project, we're able to get additional funding for student supports. Really huge thanks to him. So I'm glad that he can attend our symposium today. It's my great pleasure to introduce him and Dr. Baojovi, our VP of Technology and CIO of the university, to talk to us about the strategic plan for the state on innovation. Thank you.
Be asked to sit up here with me. You're very important. We need you to be up here.
So you want to start?
You're the boss. You start.
Let me stand up and so that I can see your faces. I'm only scheduled to be here for a short period of time, although we're in summer. For some reason, my schedule is still very full. But I'm really excited and happy to be here to offer my congratulations, appreciation. These two words, congratulations and appreciation. Congratulations are about the achievement you already made, and appreciation is for your continued effort to do the best job possible as a university faculty member. I will comment on students a little bit later. Now, when I think about our star faculty champions, I'm deeply aware of the multi-roles they play on a daily basis. Teacher, researcher, mentor, innovator, and community servant. We put all of this together. As we know, CSU, especially Fresno, our mission and our goal and our job are not the same as, say, the Ivy League or the top UC campuses, and trying to grab the national or international attention in basic research, breakthroughs, earning Nobel Prizes. That job is important, but the job we do at CSU, I believe, is more important, because we are benefiting people directly, changing people's lives over generations and building communities. That is the ultimate goal for us as a human being on the face of the earth these days, with multi-challenges we face as a collectivity. Internal conflict, environmental issues, the future development of technology. And university faculty, especially at CSU, are true leaders. They go outside the classroom labs, thinking about how we use the best way possible new technology, new ways in teaching, researching, bringing students along, helping community. And just by the way, let me welcome our colleagues, faculty and students from sister campuses. And I think our mission echo with yours, because we are one system. And let me share with the guest. Fresno State is in the middle of preparing our next WASC accreditation. And the theme for our accreditation work is flagship of the Valley. The Valley means our community. Other sister campuses have their quote-unquote Valley, their community. So the flagship of the Valley it includes way beyond teaching and research in the lab. It is aiming at uplifting community, nurturing the next generation of leaders, nurturing not just teaching, producing. Nurturing also means hands-on, caring, give our mind and heart, working with the people. We want to become the next generation leaders. Now, back to this conference. This is what our faculty are best at. Innovation combined with teaching new ways of mentoring students, taking advantage of the cutting edge technology, and take advantage of AI. And we have to bravely embrace the advancement of technology. Looking at the AI, or related to the ALIS XR movement, if I can say that way, part of the use of advanced technology, as everything else we have experienced in the last 200 years. When we first had automobile, when we first had telephone, when we first had computers or the internet. So we are the leaders, and we have to be leaders, so we can better educate and nurture our students, improve the way we do research, produce new knowledge. Knowledge can immediately benefit our local community and global communities. Personally, I'm not well versed in the technology itself, but I know when we were at the middle of COVID, and my colleagues in construction management thought hard how they continue teaching their courses. Engineers, how they could continue teaching those courses. Online, and in what ways. And so the XR technology gives the possibility of virtual reality. It is virtual reality, but so close to real reality. So the involvement of people's mind and heart and the experiences. I know that this technology, as it is currently with us, will advance, will march very quickly to a different level. And so everything else now is generated or advanced by AI. So we need our partners in technology, with our staff, with our students, with the whole community. We have to bond together as a collective community, faculty, staff, technology experts, and our colleagues across the system and beyond the system, so we can find the best ways to maximize what we want to do, the benefit of our students. We bring them on in doing this, XR, the new ways of teaching and learning, bring them on in co-authored publication presentation, bring them on to see what they can achieve in the near future and the far future. So, let me conclude with the two words I said earlier. Congratulations and my deep appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good? Okay. So personally, just want to welcome each and every one of you here to Fresno State, to those of you who traveled here, and to the symposium. I'm super excited. I may be the CIO, but I'm also a learner, so I'm super excited to be here to learn with you and explore the technology, the VR technology. Let me start by saying we may be focusing on VR, but you know, there's so many emerging technologies out there today, right? So we say AR, VR, we talk about blockchain technology, we talk about BI, which is, we haven't really focused at, right? But really, when we talk about technologies working together. So we can't really just focus on one thing. As you saw in the demo that was here, AI has been incorporated with VR too. So let me just spend a few minutes with you again, just a few remarks here is that when I talk about emerging technology, where does that sit in an organization like this? I think about the whole ecosystem. We are in an ecosystem, right? We have our students, we have our faculty, we have our staff, and we have our community members. So we have to think big picture. One thing I always say is that when I envision innovation, I think about something. I think about, are we intentional? Innovation doesn't happen on its own. We have to be intentional that we are going to invest in innovation, no matter what technology it is. I also envisioned innovation linked directly to student success. In this ecosystem, without technology, there is no student success. We will not survive in this ecosystem without technology. So in my mind, as someone who's leading people, I lean on the people who are with me. I lean on the faculty, I lean on the student. But at the end of the day, I ask that we all embrace technology, no matter what it is, and integrate it into what we do. Because it does have transformative impact to education, research, and beyond. Many organizations today are leveraging technology to improve their work operation. So it is really, really comprehensive, and it needs to be integrated into our strategic plan. I want to reflect again, as part of the strategic plan, which, and if those of you don't know, we just launched our strategic plan, and it is a core component weaved throughout the organization, no matter if you're an academic affair, in facility, in technology. Technology is weaved throughout. It may not have the word technology, but it is definitely weaved throughout a strategic plan. That is what is going to set Fresno State, as well as many of our CSU, as well as UC, is that in order to survive in this ecosystem, let me be sure and let me confirm with you that technology, it is part and it needs to be embedded in the strategic plan. Let me just share, as I kind of conclude my remark here, is that here at Fresno State, I truly believe in innovation. I got here about 2.5 years ago, and I came from Sacramento State. And one of the first things I did was we converted a position and basically hired a director for digital transformation. Max, I will meet him and his team in a little bit. But that was intentional because we wanted to do something different. And he has been working for many years. Those of you who may know, we have the Digital and Transformation Innovation Hub. We've had a lot of success in that program. Many of our students have gone on, and some have stayed with us. And we've done some wonderful things. So all of the emerging technology that I just talked about, BI, AI, AR, VR, we've done it in that hub. What we're going to do next, this very summer, we're going to launch for the first time here at Fresno State a cybersecurity internship program. And we're going to focus on different technology, but we're going to pull in these emerging technology into this internship program because we want to set apart, right, from others. We really want to engage our students in different ways. Student success is not just passing a grade. We don't just want our students to come in, take their class, and graduate and beyond. Their journey does not stop when we hand them over a degree. Their journey actually starts when they leave here. And that's part of our responsibility. At the core of that strategic plan is empowering students to be successful here on this very campus, but when they leave, they need to be successful because that's when they link Fresno State to a bigger idea, right? So Just want to say, I'm truly excited about this symposium. Thank you, Dr. Wu, for your leadership. I'm super excited what this grant has done. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Wu. And we have to do more of this. We as a system have done some beautiful things, and we need to elevate ourselves because our students, our faculty, let me just shine a spotlight on our faculty. You guys are the rock star. The research that you do, the technology you use in the classroom, that sets our students apart from others. That becomes part of the story of Fresno State. So I just want to acknowledge those of you in here, but across Fresno State, our faculty, you are renowned in so many ways, and we need to spotlight you more than ever before. We need to uplift you as well as we need to uplift our students and our staff. This is a beautiful campus, the CSU. I can't say enough about the mission of the CSU. It is where we are all about student success. So, as I said to a colleague of mine, make sure we integrate technology into the classroom, into your workspace, and beyond. It has to be part of the whole student academic journey, and more than anything, the faculty journey. We are now in R2. That becomes more critical. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with something that I normally say to my staff. Transformative technology innovation, always keep in mind that's your goal. Whatever you do, no matter what technology, think about that. Think about inclusive and equitable outcome, right? If you get these two things right, you are heading in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jory and Provost Fu. Thank you for your vision and leadership and for investing in us, technology, and students, actually. Our next agenda item, we have a panel discussion by two of my favorite speakers. We have Kate Miffitt, Director of Innovation from Cal State, and we also have Dr. Sean Hauze, Senior Director of Academic Technology at San Diego State. The two of them, plus Dr. Michaela from San Bernardino, CSU, they actually spearheaded a common interest group in XR. I think it was last fall. That's how they got all of us together. I got to see them every month, and they invite different speakers to talk about XR-related technology development and implementation. So I'm really appreciative that we got this group going, and today they're going to talk about overall XR in the CSU system from their own experiences. And we'll have them talk first, and we'll have a little Q&A session in the end. Thank you.
Thank you. We're delighted to be here today. So I wanted to, well, first I want to acknowledge, I think what you'll hear in our discussion today is that there's a lot of themes. So as we all endeavor to explore the possibilities with extended reality, we're all facing a lot of common challenges, but also a lot of similar opportunities with respect to community and collaboration. So I'm excited to talk about that today from the system perspective. First, I wanted to open with a story. I did a graduate program in education technology at San Francisco State, and I did my graduate thesis on Second Life. Does anyone, Second Life. Does anyone remember Second Life? Right, this is like 2006, 2007. And it was horrible to use, right? You would create this avatar. I had a desktop computer that really didn't have the compute power, so my avatar would like freeze and get stuck. I'd have to like reboot the whole thing as I'm trying to make these faculty development videos. But there was a seed there of something that was really promising, this idea of creating immersive spaces where students could gather, creating environments that it was safe to fail in. So there was a lot of pedagogical promise as much as there were frustrations. And so I would say since that time, so over the last 15 years, I think what we see broadly in higher education is that AR/VR becomes like a buzzword like every other year or so. So I don't have to follow like the EDUCAUSE Horizon report, but it's always like a trending technology every couple of years. It has these like mini hype cycles that it goes through. But I think beneath those little hype cycles and buzzwords and all that, there's actually been a very slow and more steady linear adoption that's been taking place. And we particularly see that in the CSU and in STEM and in healthcare fields, where the experiences that simulations afford and the kinds of interactions that immersive experiences allow students to have really enhance the learning experience. So, thank you. So that's sort of the backdrop of what we're going to talk about today. And it was great to hear our progress we use the word nurture, because the metaphor that kind of came to mind as we were talking about what we're going to discuss today is really this idea of planting seeds and seeing what blooms. And that's really how innovation matures and scales. So this is what we're going to walk through today, how you seed innovation, cultivate community, and then grow programs to be more mature and durable. So I'm going to start first by talking about our the Innovation Mini Grant Program. This is something that I'm situated in our IT organization in the Chancellor's office. I know Dr. Gomez referred to this as the dark side. I happen to think, quite differently for innovators. I think being part of the system is actually really exciting because you get to find community. On your campus, you might be one of a few people who are doing innovative things in your practice. But by being part of the system, you get to connect with people at other campuses and share best practices and so on. So it's very exciting. So we have this mini grant program where seed funding, it was a call for proposal process. These are about 5 years old, the ones that we're going to show. And I'm just going to breeze through these. But over the last 5-6 years, we've awarded 55 mini grants to over 20 campuses in the CSU. And about 25% of those have been in AR/VR. And we saw a particular spike in that, particularly during COVID, where I think both the kind of unprecedented pivot to integrating technology and teaching, but also the right time in terms of affordability and access of a lot of these experiences, we saw more interest in virtual and augmented reality. So here's an example from CSU Channel Islands. They use this third-party software to kind of give nursing students the patient perspective of what it is to have Alzheimer's or to be in hospice care, end-of-life care, to help develop their patient care skills. This is a kinesiology lab where, due to impacted lab space, they wanted to make virtual a lot of the physiology labs that experiences that they had and make it more accessible to students. And in a similar vein, this 3D photogrammetry project at San Diego State, which we'll dig into a little bit more later, also was in part motivated by finite lab space at a big campus and wanting to provide alternate access to these lab experiences. So these were some of the seeds that were planted, and as that interest was surfaced from our campuses, it became clear that there was an appetite for community. So we started a common interest group 2 years ago. We meet monthly throughout the academic year. Sean and Dr. Michael Pesky from San Bernardino are the co-chairs of the interest group. And here's some of the things that we focus on. So I won't read through all this, but this was community generated. And really the community is interested in talking about applications of extended reality, the scholarship in teaching and learning, finding ways to partner and collaborate with the community, and really kind of sharing best practices and helping students develop practical skills in using these technologies. And here's some of the topics that we've talked about in many of our sessions. So a typical meeting format will be we bring in an external speaker and a CSU speaker to both highlight projects within the system and then also to bring in other perspectives. But, and again, I won't go through each and every one of these, but you can see these are a lot of things that have come up this morning. Issues around access, affordability, accessibility within these experiences, how do you evaluate the efficacy and find funding for research for these efforts, things like how do you continue to provide faculty development and increase adoption and integration into the classroom. how do you scale these projects? And so this is kind of our transition point here. I'm going to hand it over to Sean to talk about, an example of taking one of these seeds and growing it to a more mature program.
All right, thanks, Kate. And great to see you all. I love this space. Kudos, Wei and Vivian, for finding this awesome space on campus. As mentioned, I'm Sean Hauze, Senior Director of Academic Technology at San Diego State. The approach we've taken, certainly benefiting directly from the Chancellor's Office investments and collaborations, is to kind of start small, right? Don't pretend that just because you buy hundreds of headsets, there's going to be people to use them. So I absolutely resonate with the keynote remarks around starting small as a pilot, et cetera. And what I'll share is kind of the current state of our virtual immersive teaching and learning research center, so where we're at today, but also not pretending like we got there overnight or it was all seamless, as Wei and Vivian know, because they saw some of these notes earlier. I'll share kind of our secret sauce for how we got there, starting with a shoestring budget and now having millions of dollars in grants. So what we called a few years ago Vital as kind of a initiative is now a formal research center. So that's virtual immersive teaching and learning. As of today, here in 2024, we have 4 student organizations that are centered around this work, 24 research publications and counting. There's lots of stuff in the works as well. Dozens of faculty members and courses, so about 71 faculty members to date using this technology actively in the classroom across 82 courses, and really thousands of students every semester going through some sort of XR experience. Like Wei talked about, sometimes that's a 30-minute lesson in a course, sometimes it's a doctoral dissertation focused on XR, so really kind of huge range of integration levels. These are our 2023-24 faculty fellows. I know Dr. Gomez was talking about faculty fellows as well. This is a huge opportunity, I think, for any leaders in the room to empower faculty, but also leverage their talents and desires to push the envelope in terms of teaching and learning, but also research. So as you can see, this latest year, we have a wide range of disciplines, from things like civil construction, environmental engineering, to communication, music, marketing, film, education, nursing, etc. So yes, STEM is kind of a logical place for XR technologies, but we found that it's widely applicable. In fact, all 7 disciplinary colleges, as well as our college in Imperial Valley in Plexico, California, have all really run with this technology, so really widely applicable. As mentioned, this is kind of it looks easy part, right? That as of since forming the formal research center, we brought in about $3.25 million worth of grants and donations in some cases, all of which is helping to kind of plant the seed beyond those faculty fellows you saw here who are bringing in these grants to make this technology widely available for students and faculty across campus. So I wanted to just take a few minutes to share this kind of secret sauce of how we've gone from one headset in 2016, 2017, which was a Vive headset that was tethered and required a big computer, etc., to now hundreds of headsets and thousands of students. So really empowering our students is our #1 recommendation. So I see you all are doing that as well. So we're definitely drinking the same Kool-Aid there. But again, all the way from doctoral students, this is Maria Kettler, who defended her dissertation last spring, focusing on the intersection of education and nursing and healthcare. And I'll talk a little bit about her research at the bottom as well. But to students, this is a student who's working on adapting an off-the-shelf astronomy application for teaching things like phases of the moon and parallax in astronomy classes. So everything from development and research to adaptation of existing content. Talented academic media professionals. So we have 2 graphic designers and 3 videographers who have really pivoted their work to be developing content for extended reality. So here's an example of actually capturing a 180-degree VR scenario, actually that Maria used in her dissertation work, and also capturing 360 spaces of construction engineering field trips through our engineering department. Partnerships and open collaboration, so much like the XR SIG, this symposium today, etc., we found that the more we share openly, the more we benefit. So everything from working through EDUCAUSE, which Kate and I are going to talk a little bit more now and at lunch about that collaboration, so nationally and internationally. as well as with industry, right? So companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, et cetera. This collaboration here that you can probably just barely see back there was capturing a virtual standardized patient actor at Microsoft headquarters up in Redmond, Washington, which we developed into a nursing application, which actually was my dissertation research back in 2017. So collaborating both with other faculty, campuses, as well as industry. And then lastly, the scholarship of teaching and learning. So really leaning into both student attitudes, but also other markers of success, including course outcomes. In this case, something that we worked on recently, again, back to Dr. Keckler's research, is looking at biometric feedback. So in this case, using devices similar to an Apple Watch, but it's like an athletic sensor to measure heart rate as a proxy for oxytocin, which is known as the love hormone, which can be used to measure engagement. So that's research out of Claremont Graduate University and Dr. Paul Zach. So really kind of pushing the envelope in terms of the scholarship there. And then I'll just briefly give one use case here and spotlight our Imperial Valley Nursing Program. So as I briefly mentioned, we have a campus in Plexico, California in Imperial Valley, Imperial County. And this is a highly underserved area, one of the highest unemployment rates, some of the biggest health disparities. Currently, up until 2022, we did not have a nursing program there. We didn't have a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. We had some kind of professional programs in nursing, but there's, again, huge health disparities. Unemployment with lack of nurses, we saw that as a big opportunity. But they did not have the same simulation devices as we had in San Diego. So rather than try to build a multi-million-dollar simulation center with big $100,000 mannequins, we opted to use the Microsoft HoloLens devices and this virtual standardized patient we developed with Microsoft to actually bring that technology to the students, leapfrogging traditional simulation. And this was accredited through the Board of Registered Nursing, and this program launched in 2023 and is now serving multiple cohorts of students in Imperial Valley. And here's just some examples of the adoption, but also different XR development, like using Matterport, which is a 3D room scanning technology to actually bring students into virtual clinical spaces, and then also leveraging mixed modalities like using cell phones, et cetera, to bring technology to the students as well. Pass it back to Kate.
Okay. So the final point that we want to talk about really is that, you know, when you take these small projects and then you build community around them, there's this opportunity for impact, both within and then beyond the CSU. Many people brought up today the challenge of finding content, the challenge of developing content, and that need is very clear, I think, in a unique way with VR and AR. So, why don't you talk a little bit about the background?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So Kate mentioned the seed funding, right? The innovation mini grants. One of which was for San Diego State. How are we doing on time, Wei? I don't want to take too much time. Like 5 minutes, maybe? Okay. So one of which was provided by San Diego State, and again, mini grant. So it's really the idea is planting a small seed and then seeing where it goes. So I'll just give a quick history of how we got here, and then again at lunch we're going to go much more in depth on this. So. In 2012, one of our faculty members who's taught anatomy and physiology for decades, I think something like 25 years, Dr. Sandy Garber, she started developing extreme sensitivity to formaldehyde. So her throat would actually start to close up, even if she went in the room where the cadavers and things were kept. So she couldn't teach anymore, and it was an equity issue and kind of an HR issue at that point. So her chair came to us and said, hey, and this was it started in 2012, but in about 2016, he came to us with Sandy and said, we've looked at existing 3D lab platforms, but they're too expensive. They don't have the quality or photorealism, so I put an example here of this kind of CGI bone structure, which for Sandy and others was not up to the task of teaching anatomy with the physical specimens that they used. And it was difficult for them to customize. So any faculty in the room know that you always want to customize it, right? So it's, you don't want to use off-the-shelf content. So we worked with her through a process called photogrammetry, again with help from the Chancellor's Office, to take photos of objects, turn them into photorealistic 3D models that could be used on phones, VR headsets, etc. So we finished that work in about 2019, a whole library of bones and soft tissues, and Sandy was thrilled, it was working for her, but it was also working for people like pregnant women, for example, students, TAs, etc., who were pregnant, could not be with formaldehyde. Other people with different And then of course when the pandemic hit, no one could go into the classroom, right? So all of a sudden it became relevant to all of our anatomy sections. We have like 100 anatomy sections. I'll show a quick video that I'll talk over. I will talk over it because there's just kind of background music, but this shows a little bit of what this looked like. So actually Sandy started, once we started making these photogrammetry models, which it sounds fancy, really it's just taking pictures from all different angles, and then there's a software that stitches them together. So we got a little bit more sophisticated as we went, using professional lighting and cameras and things, and integrating it into her course here, and I think that was Blackboard at the time. But at first we started with Sandy just using her iPhone 6 in her living room, hanging a bone from kind of a fishing line from the ceiling, and it was actually remarkable how easy it was. Here's Sandy doing that, and it worked, right? She was able to use it on mobile devices, headsets, etc. And then we were able to use some online software called Sketchfab to actually build in context. This was March 2020, so right before we all went home. We did a case study where we compared physical objects, in this case a sheep's heart versus the digital object, and found that students liked the digital object more, and their quizzes, there was no significant difference in the outcomes there. So higher motivation to learn, but not any impact on learning in terms of certainly not doing any harm. So, go to the next slide, maybe. So within biology at San Diego State, get back to that slide. Within biology, there's also botany. So during that same time period, a faculty member, Yuvia Renteria Flores, said, well, I usually take students down to Mexico. We can't go across the border because of the pandemic. And a lot of students can't go across the border anyway because they don't have documentation, et cetera. So we started working with her to develop botany specimens like this pine cone, et cetera, which led us to a library of content. And actually in 2021, this was featured in the EDUCAUSE Horizon report saying, hey, what if this could be an open library for everyone to use across the CSU, across the country, around the world? And since then, here a few years later, we're actually at the point, thanks to work from people in this room as well, of launching that. So before I pass it back to Kate, I'll just say, thanks to things like the Common Interest Group, we learned about what Vivian and Wei were doing with their own work around open educational resources and libraries. So again, just more evidence that that collaboration is really important.
Yeah, so one of the, so since January has been kind of the big kickoff of this subcommittee out of EDUCAUSE. So and we're collaborating with a number of other institutions, and as we're working to develop this OEXR repository, we conducted a survey, and we're going to share some more of the results over lunch, but really it's to better understand, as we all have shared this need of like being able to discover content, share content, especially because it's such an expensive investment. Unlike writing like a lecture or creating a quick video, it's very time intensive and it takes a high degree of skill. In the CSU, we've really benefited from training students and having student assistants develop these assets. But the opportunity to share would really benefit all of our universities across the system. So these are just highlighting some of the key features that were identified by survey respondents, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of these details, but I'm sure these resonate, you know, kind of discoverability, providing wraparound content like learning objectives, assessment strategies, and so on, having some different media types, making it free and available to users from around the world, really. And so this really demonstrates, I think, how we could take some of those small pilots and projects that people are working on at the individual level and build a community and an infrastructure around it to really scale up these endeavors. So with that, we wanted to, hopefully we have a couple of minutes for questions. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're going to get a couple of questions.
That means we got over
Well, it's actually our bad, but we have more time. You know, we can actually discuss more during the lunchtime break and also,
Cool.
you know, social break time as well. So.
Any questions about the Common Interest Group? I guess one thing is that Frank, thankfully, said that he would be sharing a sign-up link for the Common Interest Group via the STEMnet and other listservs. So if if you're interested in participating again in the fall, we'll be launching again in September. You'll have info on that. But any questions?
Thanks for sharing this amazing information. I teach entrepreneurship, and you mentioned about some collaborations with faculty members outside of STEM disciplines. How do you think perhaps entrepreneurship study can benefit from XR?
That's a great question. I mean, the thing that comes to mind first of all is really in the rapid prototyping phase, giving students, so if you're talking about manufactured objects, could you use virtual reality to simulate your product development pipeline before you actually build something in the materials world is one idea. I'm sure there's opportunities for like collaboration, collaborative spaces with people from other, other institutions and other places, but that's one idea that comes to mind.
Yeah, similarly along rapid prototyping, at San Diego State we have an innovation launch pad through our, it's sponsored through our College of Business, but it's definitely interdisciplinary, similar to our Vital Research Center. And one thing that comes to mind recently, we've been using generative AI coupled with immersive technologies to do rapid prototyping. So as you're thinking about things like physical objects or marketing, et cetera, to be able to use Gen AI, especially some of the new features of OpenAI tools like ChatGPT, to say, make this object and then make a 3D model of this object, et cetera, on that multimodal functionality. I think that's going to be it's going to continue to progress in terms of the ability to do that rapidly. And certainly there's innovation opportunities and business ideas within the space of XR as well.
Thank you.
One more question?
One more question.
Can you speak a little bit more to the aspect of like the creative element for students as opposed to like just the consumption of VR material? Isn't that something I'm always curious about with any kind of new technology? How are we actually getting students to making their own things rather than it always being them just necessarily consuming something? So that's maybe VR 2.0, maybe if we phrase it that way.
Yeah, I think again that's something that we see, and I think it's almost unique in the CSU. You could probably speak a bit to the student assistant work at San Diego State, but I know San Bernardino has really relied on their student assistants to develop in Unity, to develop the assets, and to work closely with faculty. And it's really nice pairing when you have a faculty member with their subject matter expertise paired with a student assistant in IT to really pair that technology expertise with the subject matter expertise and bring a vision to life. I think it's really effective. Max is hiding behind a column, I'm not sure why, but he is somebody here at Fresno State, I think, who's been really, has really excelled at cultivating student assistant and internship program and really developing real world skills in making. So, and you've done robotics, you've done AR, VR, you've done a whole range of technology projects with students. So I do think that making part, it gives them, I think, practical real world skills, and then also that sense of just bringing something, to life as opposed to just being a media consumer. And I think that it challenges too that notion of digital native, which I think is kind of widely been debunked, but the idea of just because you have, you can use Facebook or Instagram does not mean that you understand how to build something from scratch.
Right. Yeah, I think that encompasses it well, and I'll just add that, along the lines of necessity being the mother of invention, right? I think the fact that we don't have huge budgets, even, one of the things that my CIO, James Frazee, and I always joke about is when a faculty member is asking what they should build into their grant budget, we say pizza money, because often if we just provide a space and some food for students, they'll do the hard part, right? And our students across the CSU are super talented and motivated. And along the continuum of things like photogrammetry and 360 video, which are super easy, right? It's literally a button in a lot of cases to develop content, all the way to developing full AR, VR app through Unity and other engines. Our students can do really impressive work that rivals some of the big tech companies. So I think pairing them with subject matter experts, faculty, et cetera, and letting them do the rest is really kind of getting out of their way is the key there. And providing them, again, space, technology, software, pizza, et cetera.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for working on the pizza idea. That's probably why we
That's right. So we're gonna skip the next break, but you can still quickly grab some, some water. Max, you can have your team get set up, and we'll start right away. And you will have way more opportunity to interact with Kate and Sean, pick their brains in terms of, how can we actually bring those wonderful experiences they have been doing on their campus to our own campus as well. And it really is about, learn from each other and advance toward together.